If you're looking for pound the best home health and beauty fragrance products, you need to go to ashkickin.com.
Dante's Boxing Nation over here with the man, the miracle man,
I'm
Danny
feeling happy,
Jacobs.
Dante.
Man.
I got a chance to meet you, brother.
Oh,
it's been an honor, man. I've always followed your work.
I appreciate
I want to say I appreciate you for supporting the sport of boxing, doing such a positive job supporting us fighters. We put our lives on the line, and you do such a tremendous, respectful job of doing what you do for us, and I want to commend you, brother.
Hello.
Hey, Abel, what's going on, man?
Good morning. How are you?
Good to hear from you, man. Just over here, just working as always, man. So what was up today? Were you training Golovkin today?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Golovkin and about 5 other guys.
Okay, that's cool, man. So let's go ahead and get right into it this weekend. We already know about the Broner Garcia fight, but there's someone else who fought on that card, and that's Jermall Charlo. And now after stopping Heelan, he's considered the #1 contender for one of Golovkin's belts. Assuming Golovkin beats Canelo Alvarez, what was your thoughts on Jermall Charlo's performance and him possibly fighting the winner of Canelo Golovkin?
Well, as you and I spoke before about this number one contender for the WBC for the last year and a half, 2 years, every time he was brought up for us to fight, I always suggested not, because I didn't think he was up to put the standards of not being criticized by the media, by the journalists, and so he ends up fighting Charlo, and he looked just like I thought he would look. He looked terrible. I mean, he looked like he couldn't even walk.
Mm-hmm.
But yet Charlo fights him, and I don't see any kind of criticism for Charlo fighting him.
But they did.
I don't get that.
But Abel, they did. They basically forced Charlo to fight him to put the winner in position to fight for Golovkin's title, though, right? I mean,
that's fine. That's fine. I understand that part of it. I mean, it's not Charlo's fault. But what I'm saying to you is, if Golovkin would have fought this guy, it wasn't Golovkin's fault either. He would have been forced to, because it was a mandatory, and we would have got. You got to be truthful. You know, we would have got all kinds of criticism for fighting the guy.
Well,
but Charlo fights him and gets nothing.
Well, not a mandatory though, Abe. I mean, even when he fought, when he fought against Willie Monroe, because Willie Monroe was a.
Willie Monroe was a mandatory. Wade was a mandatory. And how much criticism we'll get for that? Oh my God! Go back and look at it.
Yeah, I mean, I heard some people say some stuff, but I mean, when it's a mandatory, to me, that's a little bit different, But we still got it. So what I'm telling you is, we still got it. Okay. This was an eliminator, which was like a mandatory. There was no choice for either guy. But I hear nothing. So
from nobody.
I mean, yeah, because that also was Jermall's first fight at the middleweight division too, though, and
it doesn't matter. The fact is, why was he allowed to fight this guy for the title and not get any criticism? And I'm not criticizing Charlo. Understand?
You're criticizing the organization that set up the eliminator.
I'm criticizing you guys that are not saying, hey, why did he fight this guy? Why did he fight somebody that was the #1 contender? I mean, something. The guy couldn't even walk. Couldn't even walk into the ring.
Abe, so I mean, but you're comparing him to, like, once again, Golovkin's situation, right? You basically saying if it was Golovkin who was the middleweight champion that was fighting Heelan, he would get criticized more, as opposed to Jermall Charlo moving up in weight and fighting him in an eliminator, right? That's what you're saying.
But wait a minute. He moved up in weight to challenge Golovkin, supposedly, eventually.
Yeah, but they told him
so he put himself on the same level.
But they told him that he had to fight Heelan to get in a position to fight Golovkin, though. This was only, I know
what you're saying. What I'm telling you is this, that there is no, they're forcing him to fight Heelan, you're right. They would have been forcing us to fight Heelan also, but we would have got criticism, and there's no criticism of any sort for this fight.
But another thing too, Abe, is if the plan is to eventually get the biggest and the most dangerous fighter in the division, and you just have to get this guy out the way, and we already know that plan is coming up next, then it's like we already know that he's planning on fighting the best. I mean, it's different when you have some people, and I'm not saying Golovkin, but you have some fighters that constantly fight mandatories, and they don't have a plan to fight some big threat right after that. You know?
Well, wait a minute. If he's the mandatory, before he fought Charlo, he was a threat because he's the mandatory. The WBC, which is the ranking body, sees him as a number one contender. So before he fought Charlo or after he would have fought Golovkin, would have seen that he's not a threat. Mm-hmm. So, but being forced to fight him, what I'm saying to you is being forced to fight him and then him destroying him like you would have got all kinds, just like the weight fight. So go back and read the weight comments after the weight fight. But for the Charlo fight, Charlo gets even. I see nothing. And I'm not saying to criticize Charlo, but to criticize the fact that they made that fight.
But you don't see that as the exact same thing, though, Abe. Once again, like I said, Charlo's moving up in weight, and that's his first fight at the middleweight division.
It doesn't matter. It's identical. He's moving up in weight to be in position to fight the middleweight champion.
Yeah.
So he's putting himself on the same level.
So let's say if Golovkin right now he decided to move up to 168, and they told him he had to fight like a Heelan type of opponent, but after that he gets the best super middleweight in the world. I don't think people would criticize Golovkin that much if everything is already set in motion.
Absolutely they would. Absolutely they would.
Or better.
You moved up to 168 and you fought a bum.
You said Charlo did, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but whose fault is it though? I mean, and that's what I'm trying to figure. And you're saying the media.
It's not Charlo's fault. Don't get me wrong. It's not Charlo's fault.
So when you say the media should criticize, who should they criticize?
Whomever made that fight.
But
made that fight possible.
But it was the WBC that made that fight though.
And that's what they should criticize.
But the WBC is trying to set up the winner against Golovkin, which is a much bigger fight though, because he's the champion. You have the junior middleweight champion who could possibly be going up against the middleweight champion, which is Golovkin. That's champion versus champion in two different divisions.
I understand all that. I understand all that. I understand. I see that. I see that point. But what I'm telling you is that somebody should have criticized the fact that guy couldn't even walk, and they put him against the WBC 154-pound champion moving up to 160 pounds.
But nobody knew he was going to have issues like that until he got in the ring. And I thought, come on. Hey,
you've seen him fight before.
Hey, when you watch the fight though, I could be wrong. I watched the fight, but he got staggered early, and when he got staggered, he did a little dance, and it looked to me like he had, hyperextended his knee. And then after that, that's when it looked like he could barely walk. Is that what happened? Because I think that's what happened in the fight. Because he wasn't.
No, I've seen the guy fight before. I've seen him fight before several times. What I'm telling you is not this fight. I've seen him fight several times before. And that's why every time his name was mentioned, I would cringe. I would say, no, we don't want to fight that guy because we're going to get the same criticism we got, but it's a mandatory. I realize that it's a mandatory, but we're going to get the same criticism we've gotten in the past because the guy didn't belong up there. But, again, it's not Golovkin's fault, it's not Charlo's fault, but we have to have equal criticism.
But the difference, once again, if Golovkin, if he was fighting somebody, and we knew it was already set in motion that he has to get past Heelan. Once he gets past Heelan, he's fighting, I don't know, an Andre Ward or a Canelo, a Lara, or some big name. We know that's the very next fight. No one is going to really criticize him that much. It's kind of like the playoffs in the NBA and the NFL. If you get past this one team, you're going to play against another big team after that. I mean, it's a little bit different, right? As opposed to just constantly fighting people. We don't know who you're going to fight from fight to fight to fight. Isn't that a little bit?
That was our mandatory.
Yeah.
You understand? That was our mandatory. So if we would have fought that fight, we would have got criticized just like when we fought the weight fight. That's the mandatory. Okay. Now that's why we didn't fight it. That's why I every time they brought it up, I would just cringe. I would say, no, we can't fight that guy. That guy, I mean, we're gonna catch hell for it.
Okay,
And,
well,
but while I'm saying, wait,
Go
now,
ahead.
all I'm saying is that when Charlo moved up and he fought this guy, I'm not saying to criticize Charlo. Charlo did his job. Okay, I'm just saying, say something about the uneven type of fight that was. That this guy didn't belong at number one. Charlo didn't really beat the number one contender. Something.
who would you?
Nothing.
But that's who they had as that's who they had as the number one contender.
But because they had him, you agree that he was number one. It's like, wait, come on, you don't agree with that.
Well, I
Wade
mean,
didn't belong at number one.
my thing is, I'll be honest, I didn't know too much about Heelan, but my thing is, Jermallo's moving up in weight, though. I mean, it's a difference when you're moving up in weight, though, Abe.
No, it's not. It's not. He's not moving up in weight. What he's doing is
Charlo?
all of a sudden becoming a middleweight. All of a sudden he's becoming a middleweight. And he's moving from a lightweight to whatever. He's a middleweight. Now he's an equal middleweight to everybody else. We can't say that he's moving up and he's got to fight a bum. He's moving up to middleweight. He needs to fight middleweight.
But Abe, but now he wants to fight that type of opponent you're talking about, and that's Golovkin. He wants to fight Golovkin or Canelo now. So, I mean, now this should be the type of fight that no one would complain about, right? I mean, Charlo wanting to fight Golovkin or
Canelo. You mean that after beating Heelan, in your mind, not the WBC's mind, in your mind, after beating Heelan, he deserves a shot at the best middleweight. You out of your mind.
No, that's what the that's because he's already a champion, though, eh? It's not like he's just a regular middleweight, moving up the rankings. He was already a champion at this.
Moving up the rankings.
Huh?
He's moving up to 150. He's not a middleweight yet.
But he was a
guy that didn't belong at number one, and not because he fights that guy. In your mind, he deserves to fight the best middleweight in the world. Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
Well, I mean, he did. They put him in there against the number one contender.
No, that they put him in there, and then do you agree that was the number one contender? I mean, that was the best.
Yeah,
in the better than Jacob.
No, in the WBC, Jacobs is ranked in the WBA. But we talking about the WBC rankings, though.
Doesn't matter. That guy right there is better than Jacob.
No, I didn't say that. No, of course he's not better than Jacobs.
Okay, is he better than any of the 2, 3, or 4, or 5 guys that are ranked in the WBC that you just saw him fight?
No, well he's not. Well, he's not better. He's not better than Jacobs. I mean, but my whole thing is
he's not better than Johnson. He's not better than Toronto John.
Yeah, I agree with you on. But the thing is, though, Abe, a lot of times fighters, they end up fighting some number one contender before they end up taking a big fight, and a lot of times you're right. The number one contender. Go ahead.
You say this only because it's convenient for you to say.
What?
You don't say it if it was the other way around. And Golovkin fought this fight, we would have got hell.
If it was okay, let's look at that scenario. You said if it was the other way around and it was the exact same situation.
No, not the second situation. We were defending the title against the number one contender. Supposedly that's the best middleweight in WBC. Supposedly.
No, but
he's fighting and he looks like crap like he did against Charlo. And there's not going to be a word said about it. He just beat another guy. No, go back and look at the Wade fight. Go back and look at the comments after the Wade fight.
But Abe, if we're talking about the same situation, because that's what we're trying to compare, if he would have been treated the same way by the media, if it was the same situation, it would be Golovkin fighting someone like Heelan just so he can get to pound for pound the best fighter in that division. And if that was Golovkin's very next fight, huh?
I'm not saying that that's not the case. Obviously that's the case. Charlo is supposed to fight the number one contender so he can eventually earn a shot at the middleweight title. What I'm saying is that there's nothing written about the uneven part of the fight, as it would have been about Golovkin. Forget about the titles. Just the fact that he's going to fight this guy to fight the middleweight, that's the best middleweight in the WBC. You have Charlo, Murata, Jacob, Lemieux, Derevchenko, Kovarov, Douglas, Lee, Arias. All those guys beat this guy. So at least there's something that has to be said about this.
Yeah, but once again, I mean, he's ready to fight Golovkin now, though. I mean, so Charlo, he's ready to fight Golovkin.
No, he's not.
I mean, when I say he's ready, I'm saying him personally. I mean, I'm saying he wants to fight, not.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
So does Demetrius Andrade want to fight him too?
Yeah, Demetrius Andrade wants to fight him, but he's the number one contender for Golovkin's belt, though, not for Andrade's belt.
Oh, so now he's going to wait a year before he fights again?
No, well, so you guys are saying you're not going to fight him, is what you're saying when you saying that you're not going to put Golovkin in there for at least a year?
I have no idea. No. Golovkin's going to fight in September.
I mean, I'm saying in there with you won't put him in there with Charlo. Is that what you're saying?
Why would they? He hasn't earned that right.
Hey, but what if they try to take the belt from you guys, though? Will you guys give up the belt instead of fighting them if they try to do that?
Dante, remember that when there's a mandatory, it's 9 months plus 3.
So you're saying they're not going to do that?
You know they're not going to do that. Why would they fight him? Why would Golovkin's brain trust fight a guy that first of all, hasn't earned the right? Second of all, has nothing to come to the table when there's a lot of other middleweight fights that are already out there that people are clamoring for.
But this is the thing. He was a champion, though. He was an undefeated champion at the junior middleweight division that nobody wanted to fight back, at the junior middleweight division.
Yes, sir, he did. Demetrius wanted to fight him.
Yeah, Demetrius wanted to fight him, but once again, now he's a middleweight though, and he just became the #1 contender.
I'll bet you that if he wanted to fight Demetrius would come up to 160 pounds.
Yeah, Demetrius would, but the thing is, he's the #1 contender for Golovkin's belt though.
So he's gonna wait a year for a fight.
No, I mean, well, obviously, if you guys, Team Golovkin is not going to fight him. Obviously, he's going to, stay active. At least that's what I would assume. But my thing is, I mean, isn't Charlo kind of in the same situation that Golovkin was in when he wanted to fight Sergio Martinez? He's like in the same kind of situation.
And he never fought him.
And that's what Sergio Martinez. And I'm gonna tell you, Abe, I actually fought for Golovkin when Sergio Martinez kept saying that Golovkin wasn't a big name and he has to do this, and everything Sergio Martinez said you guys had to do, you guys did, and he still didn't fight him. And so you would say that the situation is similar to that one then.
He has to earn it. Well, Sergio is saying that he had to earn it, so we did everything that they asked us to do, and guess what? They still didn't fight us. So,
but I mean, you do know the perception is Jermall Charlo would most likely.
Who cares about the perception? Perception doesn't put no money in Golovkin's bank.
Well,
and no asses in the seats.
Well, I mean, so outside of Canelo, if it's not going to be a Danny Jacobs rematch, if it's not going to be a Charlo fight, who else are you guys going to fight? Like when it comes to big names or big challenges?
He's made it clear that he wants the 4 belts. He's made it clear for the last 4 years that he wants the 4 belts.
So he's going to try to go back to the Billy Joe. You guys going to try to go back to the Billy Joe Saunders fight?
He's made it. It's not something that's new. He's made it clear.
I thought he stopped. I thought he was done with Billy Joe after you guys.
That he wants the 4 belts.
But another thing I want to ask you. Golovkin. I don't know if you know he said this, but right after Kovalev lost to Ward, Golovkin he made an interesting statement. He said that after the Canelo fight, he might retire because every fight is difficult.
He never said that.
Oh, he never
said that.
So that was
what he said. Was his wife wants him to spend more time at home. That's what he said.
That's what it. But it was quoted that he said that exactly though.
Everybody writes. You and I have had this conversation. Everybody writes, or you guys write what is most eye-catching. That's what you write. He said that his wife wanted to spend more time at home. What husband doesn't have a wife that wants him to spend more time at home?
No, I understand that, but unless somebody seriously misquoted him, because I'm saying, I mean, it's different from people writing an article on what they think, but then when they put it in quotation marks, word for word what he said.
Look, I just did a piece with Michael Woods not too long ago, and the piece got pulled because the editor put a caption or the headline that I said Canelo would be a bum. I never said that. But it sounded good.
So
they pulled the article. What I said was that you guys will consider him a bum after he fights him.
What, after after Golovkin beats Canelo?
That's what I said in the article. Okay? But the caption said that I said Canelo would be a bum after Golovkin beats him.
Well, just for conversation's sake,
I guess. I guess just to make sure people read the article. I don't know.
Yeah.
But he never said he would retire. What he said, his wife wanted him to spend more time at home.
So you're saying he never said he's thinking about retiring because every fight is difficult?
No.
That was okay.
He said every fight is difficult. Yes, he did say every fight is difficult, but he didn't say he wanted to retire. He said his wife wanted him to spend more time at home.
Okay. Well, that's good. Well, this is good then. I mean, because clearly it would seem like it's a little premature for him to just up out of nowhere just retire right now.
He's 35 years old.
Uh-huh. What do you, when you say that, do you mean?
I think he's 3-4 more years than me.
Oh yeah. That's what I would be. I think a lot of people will be hoping for. So, but okay, so if it's like 3-4 more years, once again, like I said, Billy Joe Saunders, let's say that happens or it doesn't happen, he gets past Canelo, and you still don't see either a Jacobs rematch or even a fight with Charlo right now, or after that?
You mean to tell me, you put your manager's cap on.
Mm-hmm.
You mean to tell me there's a great fight between him and Canelo, and the fight goes towards the end, maybe it's a decision, Golovkin wins the decision or stops him late. You mean to tell me you don't think as a manager there's going to be a rematch?
Oh yeah. I mean, if you
so do you think that happens in May? Do you think that happens in May or September next year?
I mean, it will most likely happen about 3-6 months later, right?
At least 6 months. If it's a kind of fight that we think it's going to be for these two guys the way that they fight,
mm-hmm.
you know that they're going to need time to recuperate. You know that Canelo's going to need time to heal, and Golovkin is going to need time to recuperate and stay out of the gym. So if it happens in May, okay, that's what 9 months away, 6-7 months away.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, well, yeah, if the fight was competitive, regardless, if the fight was competitive, yeah, it makes way more sense to have the rematch. But I'm just saying there's also a possibility that, either fighter, can be like completely dominant to where, there's no reason for a rematch. That's a very good possibility.
Well, very true. Very true. But if that's what you're thinking and Canelo's dominant, why are we talking about Charlo?
Well, Charlo, because he just had the fight just yesterday, and he's now the number one contender. And
Golovkin is dominant. He's going after Saunders.
He's going after Saunders.
That's the belt that he wants.
Yeah, and I mean, who would you say? But who would you say is the most dangerous opponent out of Saunders and Charlo?
Saunders. I shouldn't say Saunders. Charlo's nothing. Charlo fought a bum.
So
he's a middleweight champion. He's got to earn the right to be a middleweight.
So you believe Saunders is more dangerous?
Why doesn't he fight? Saunders is a champion, right? I guess he's more dangerous. He's a champion.
So Saunders is more dangerous, you said, because he's the champion.
He's the champion right now. Let's see how Willie does against him. Okay? He beat Eubank, who I think is a very good fighter too. Let Charlo fight Eubank. Let Charlo fight Jacob. Let Charlo fight Lemieux. Let Charlo fight Demetrius, who wants to fight him. I mean, don't just sit and focus on one.
Those would all be great. Those would all be great fights, but that's the whole reason why he took this fight, though, is so he could be in position to fight Golovkin, though.
Now he's going to sit on a shelf until somebody's ready. We didn't sit on a shelf with Golovkin. We fought him 3 or 4 times a year.
But see, the thing is, Dominic Wade, he got the opportunity to fight against Golovkin, and he wasn't on the level of a Charlo.
Wait a minute. They would have stripped us if we didn't fight him. They had just stripped Fury. Remember that?
Yeah, because Wade had been the number one contender for a while. So you're saying that you guys are gonna wait until it's like
the number one contender. He had not been the number one contender. Turner Johnson was supposed to fight us, but he got hurt.
Yeah. Then it dropped.
To the next one.
They went to the next one.
They would have stripped us, just like they stripped Fury and Charles Martin and the Russian kid. So now, if the WBC orders that, then it's a mandatory. Okay? But if the WBO is still out there, which is Golovkin's been saying for 4 or 5 years, that he wanted the 4 belts, he wanted to be the next unified champion after the great Bernard Hopkins, then that's what he's going to go after. Until it gets forced, there's no reason. And let's go after the goals that he has set for himself.
Abe, who would you say is the most complete, the most dangerous opponent or fighter outside of Golovkin in the middleweight division right now?
Daniel Jacobs.
You would say Danny Jacobs?
Yep. He's the second best middleweight in the world, and you tell me who can beat him.
Well, that's subjective right there, but,
Okay, well, then they fight him.
Huh?
They should fight him.
They mean in Charlo, or you mean you mean other people?
Whoever you think can be Danny Jacobs should fight him.
Yeah, once again,
I think that Jacobs is the second best middleweight in the world.
Yeah, that's a fair argument. That's a fair argument. But if that is the case, then it would seem that it would also make sense once again if there's no Golovkin rematch. If Charlo is not in the picture, a Golovkin Jacobs rematch would make sense with him being the number 2 best guy in the division too, right?
Absolutely. That, to me, that would probably be after he accomplishes what he wants to accomplish. That would be the next one. But look, for Tom Loeffler and his management team, they're planning 3 or 4 moves ahead. Mm-hmm. And they're planning 3 or 4 moves ahead. And what's his name? Saunders or Willie? I don't know how Willie does, but Saunders or Willie is going to be in the next 1 or 2 moves. Now, it may not be until next year, sometime in the middle of the year, but it is the next one of the 2 moves.
Mm. So I mean, if you could predict the future, does Golovkin retire before he ever fights Charlo, or is Charlo even on the?
Who is Charlo? Charlo's nobody. He hasn't earned the right to be even mentioned in Golovkin's name.
Even though
he hasn't.
Even though he's ranked as the number 1 contender.
Doesn't matter. He hasn't earned that. Jacobs is. Jacobs, you can talk to me and say, and ask me that same question. I'd say, I would hope that Danny will fight Danny, because Danny is the second best middleweight in the world. So you
don't see Golovkin ever really fight Charlo.
I have no clue who is Charlo. Charlo's nothing. Honest. I mean, he hasn't earned that right, Dante. Jacobs has, and Saunders has.
But if Golovkin fought the welterweight champion, which is Kell Brook, isn't that the same thing as him fighting the junior middleweight champion, which would seem to me more impressive?
You know what? But you know what? They never wanted a fight, or else they never spoke up about wanting a fight. They never spoke up.
They who?
The promoter never spoke up. Why? Because Showtime and HBO don't get along. You know what? There comes a point where they got to make a choice. Golovkin is not gonna go and do something against what the path that he's leading, because he's the one that's leading it right now. That's their choice.
You're saying that the Charlos never reach out to you, or what are you saying?
No, Showtime, their fighters, just like Quillen would never fight on HBO. They're the ones that have to make the adjustment, not Golovkin. Golovkin is in that situation is the if you want to call her an A and a B fighter. I don't like those terms, but the A fighter that's really in charge of the middleweight division at that point. If the Charlos or Quillen or whomever is underneath him or wants to fight him, they're the ones that never wanted to fight on HBO. That's why the fights weren't made.
So you're saying if the fight could be made, then you see the. Is that what you're saying? Then you see the Golovkin?
No, I'm talking about back then. I'm talking about back. You asked me about fighting the junior middleweight champion. Back then, when he was a junior middleweight champion, there was never any talk about him fighting on HBO.
Oh no. Well, I hear you, Abe, but no, that's not what I meant. I wasn't trying to say he should have fought him back then. I'm just saying, when you say who is he, that looks good if he's beating the former junior middleweight champion who's still undefeated right now. I'm saying wouldn't that look just as good as when he beat Kell Brook?
It does nothing for Golovkin.
It does nothing for Golovkin.
Nothing for Golovkin. The only reason he fought Kell Brook, understand, you have to put things in context. You just can't say that he fought the welterweight champion. When the fight took so long to make with Eubanks, and we had 9 weeks before, or 8.5 weeks before the fight, and Eubanks decided that he was going to bolt, that he was going to do something different. At that point, we've been in camp. The fight's been negotiated. Everything was happening. There's a date on HBO. They're not going to stop the ball rolling. All of a sudden, the promoter that promotes Eubanks and Brook says, "Well, what about Kell Brook?" Yeah. They were in that position to be able to say that.
Oh yeah, I know you explained to me before.
It's not that we wanted to fight him. It's just that at that point, what do you do? Scrap everything?
Yeah, but
money's invested by everybody. You just scrap everything?
No, I totally agree with you. When it comes to that point, I was just saying when you said Charlo is no one. All I'm saying is
no one.
Or who is he? You said who is he? You said who is he?
Junior middleweight champion.
Yeah, and that's all I'm saying. That he, so that makes Golovkin look good if he's beating one of the most dangerous, one of the most avoided fighters.
We were accused in the past of fighting junior middleweights. We're going to go back to fighting junior middleweights.
But you said this guy is a middleweight, though. I mean, he's a big guy, though. Junior. I mean, he's already got a win at the middleweight division now, so it's not like he's jumping up 2 weight classes or anything like that.
No, we didn't want to fight Kell Brook. He's the one that was available. Nobody else spoke up and wanted to fight.
No, it was not
short notice.
That was a great fight, though.
So you can't say he jumped up 2 divisions. Okay, you can't say that. It wasn't like we chose to bring him up 2 divisions.
But he did jump up 2 weight classes, though, right?
Okay, but wait a minute. Yes, but at that point, do you scrap the fight, or the guy that wants to take it takes it? Nobody else jumped to the chance.
Yeah, no, that wasn't Golovkin at all. Like you said, that you guys were ready for Chris Eubank. It was Eubank to pull it out. I totally understand. Hold on one second. Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So right there, the actual recording had ended, and we had to restart the recording. So this is part 1. I'll go ahead and upload the second part of this interview later on tonight. But that's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one.